Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Post-High School Planning Town Hall. My name is Sarah Weiss. Weiss is nice. Hopefully you'll remember me that way. And I promise you'll see my face probably later on during the town hall. But it's so nice to be with you all. I work for the Washington Student Achievement Council, which is a state agency that works with students and families on their path to funding and applying to college. And I am based here in Olympia, Washington. I grew up in Eastern Washington, so it's so nice to be talking with all of you. And I can't see you, but it's so nice to be talking with all of you this afternoon over in the Spokane area. So what we're going to be talking about today is we want this to really be an opportunity to share some information with all of you as you think about what's your next steps after high school. We have several colleges here to talk with you and answer questions. We've got someone, Scott Kerwin from Spokane Public Schools, who's going to talk with you for a little bit. But we're going to make this really about the questions and things that you want answered. And so we're going to have a brief presentation with some information and resources to share, and then we'll have time for question and answer. Now you should see a chat questions feature in your browser with the webinar. And so as we go today, if you have a question or if you've already got some questions for either myself with the Washington Student Achievement Council about what we talk about, or Spokane Public Schools, or any of the colleges that are here today, please type that in so that way when we get to the question and answer section, we can jump right into getting your questions answered. All right, here we go. So the biggest message I want really to get out to students, to you all, and to your families and those who are helping you through the process after high school is that there are still time and help to make your plans for after high school. And please don't let this current situation so difficult derail your plans or stop you from making them. As we're going to talk about later, there's so many resources out there to help figure out what options you might have. There's lots of financial aid opportunities that are still available for students here in our state. And then the colleges are going to talk to you about what they're doing to support students as well. And so my biggest message really is to help you, to encourage you not to give up and to know that there are people and programs here in the state of Washington to support you about what you're going to do after you graduate high school. I'm going to turn it over to Scott with Spokane Public Schools.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yep. Hi, Scott.
Perfect. Hey, sorry, I apologize if there's internet issues. It's been a little bit buggy today, but my name is Scott Kerwin. I'm the Director of College and Readiness for Spokane Public Schools. Welcome to those students from Spokane Public Schools and from other districts around. I'm really lucky to be in Spokane and have counselors really care about all students in the Spokane area and want to point to resources for everybody. So after working as a high school counselor for 9 years, I really want to focus on all of you never stopping asking questions of adults. There's a great panel here, really lucky to have them. They all care so much about students and helping you get to your next steps. And so what I've learned after 9 years is that you as students really need to ask the questions out loud. We don't know, can't read your mind, and so please continue to do that. I posted the class of 2019 high school graduation enrollment numbers for 2-year and 4-year colleges, just as a challenge to use the class of 2020 and 2021, really to get those questions answered so that you can get to your next destinations, wherever that is, from a T24 perspective. Really appreciate you being here when you could be binge watching your favorite TV shows, and so please get those questions in the chat. We would love to help you out, whatever you're thinking for your next steps.
All right, thanks, Scott. And so the first resource that I want to talk to you all about as you think about kind of exploring and what pathways and opportunities might be the best fit for you and how to get them is the College and Career Compass. This is a really cool tool here in Washington. I feel really lucky to work with people who are so excited to have developed this for you all to use. It's free, there's no ads in it. It's essentially a tool that will help you kind of, if you know what you're maybe interested in doing once you graduate high school, or jobs, but not really sure how to get there, or what schools offer programs that can help you get to that career path. This is an awesome tool to be able to get to it. And so, as Scott was saying, in terms of asking questions and exploring what is of interest to you, this is a really neat way to do that. And as I said, it's free. There's no ads on it. It's called the College and Career Compass Washington. You go to compass.wa.gov. It will allow you to ask you a couple initial questions if you're a high school student or if you're an adult returning to college, just so it can make sure to get you to the right sections of the website. And then it'll allow you to really explore. There's articles, there's ways to find career paths, and then how to actually prepare and enroll for them. And then there's information about applying for financial aid and all that good stuff too. So definitely encourage you to check out College and Career Compass, regardless of whatever point you are in your search, because it'll help you figure out and kind of get you those that information about where programs might be based on what you're interested in doing. Another resource that I want to share with you is as you make your plans and think about, okay, how do I, get started with them? Where do I find information about the different colleges or apprenticeship programs or paths that I'm interested in doing? Is the Plan Your Future website. If you go to WASAC, so at the top there's the link, wsac.wa.gov/action-plan. Is the website. This site is really helpful in terms of getting you some resources and links to the colleges, information specifically. There's a lot of information about COVID-19 adjustments that schools have been making as well on here. I'm going to talk a little bit later about Otterbot, which is our texting service, but you can text in if you're looking for help around financial aid. It's 24/7. It's a bot that we support, and Otter will help you with those questions you have. But definitely check out the Plan Your Future and help website, and as you think about kind of transitioning and figuring out what's best for you after high school. So again, the message that it's not too late to apply or change your path. And as we think about that, applying for admissions to colleges or apprenticeship programs and things like that, there's still many options available to you if you are in the class of 2020 but don't kind of have that plan outlined yet. Our community and technical colleges have opportunities available. Some of our four-year colleges and universities, many of them have rolling admissions, meaning that they're still accepting applications. You may know this, you may not, that many of our four-year colleges have moved to a test optional policy, meaning that SAT and ACT are optional. That's not every college necessarily, but some of them. So that's a good question if you haven't taken the SAT or ACT but are interested in a four-year college, to maybe ask today or ask the admissions office at a college that you're interested in. If you are a class of 2020 and you have applied for financial aid, but your situation has changed greatly or changed at all due to the COVID-19 situation right now, many colleges are doing financial aid reviews to re-review your application and your current situation to see if there's additional aid available. And again, many colleges have extended deposit deadlines or confirmation deadlines to when you confirm, so that you can really make sure that you understand and have all the information to make that decision for what's best for you. And so there's more information on specific colleges. We, the Student Achievement Council, have been collecting all of this information from our college partners at that action plan website that I mentioned before. So definitely check it out to get more specifics. Now, as we talk about kind of what financial aid opportunities might be available to help pay for college, or apprenticeship programs, there's a really exciting, fantastic new program this year. It's called the Washington College Grant. And it's new for you all who are seniors right now. And so for the class of 2020, starting in the fall, there's more funding, more money for more eligible students, for more kinds of education. Apprenticeship programs, registered apprenticeship programs can now receive funding. If you're interested in all these different programs, there's over 60 colleges and universities in the state of Washington that Washington College Grant can help fund. It has expanded the eligibility, and we'll talk about that in a minute, so that more students are eligible for Washington College Grant funds. So this is a really exciting program. The funds for Washington College Grant do not run out. So if you are eligible and you are going to a program or college or an apprenticeship program that is eligible for the program, you will get funds. So in terms of expanded eligibility, as I said, more students are eligible for more money. That's what's really the new component of this, in addition to the apprenticeship piece. But a student from a family of four who makes around $50,000 or less would receive a full award. And those can range anywhere from $4,000 or so at a community and technical college up to around $11,000 at a private institution. So it depends on what type of college you go to. So there's lots of opportunities to help pay for this. So we're at Washington College Grant to help pay for whatever program you're looking at. Partial grants are available for families who are making around making around $97,000 a year. So it's not a one and done, like, oh, I'm either eligible for the full thing or nothing. There's a scaled amount, and so you may be eligible for something. So I would really encourage you to check it out. And now you're probably wondering, Sarah Weiss is nice. Be nice and tell me how to apply for this great program. I am so excited that there's money out there for me. How do I apply for it? Well, you have to apply for financial aid. And so you do that by applying with one of these applications, the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, or the WASFA, the Washington application for state financial aid. You should only do one of these applications. These applications, the FAFSA is for students who are eligible for federal aid, so US citizens, permanent residents. You would go to fafsa.gov and apply with the FAFSA. If you're not eligible for federal aid due to immigration status or undocumented students here in Washington but meet Washington residency requirements, you can apply for the Washington College Grant with the WASFA application. And that's available at readysteadgrad.org. Another resource I wanted to share with you is called Swift Student. And this is a relatively new resource. It's a really cool opportunity to have help with a financial aid review process. So if you're not sure how to ask a college for help with that review, if your finances have changed, Swift Student will help you develop the letter that you're asking a college to help with. It helps you create tools and templates to advise you as you go to ask that college for additional help. As you can see from the logos, it's been supported by a lot of nonprofit organizations. Colleges have been involved in helping get set up with it, financial aid offices. So this is just a free tool I wanted to share, that if you're not sure how to ask for that additional help, that Swift Student can kind of help you create that letter in collaboration with talking with the financial aid office at the college you're interested in going to. So as I mentioned earlier, Otterbot, this is our free texting service here in Washington State for seniors that can help you through your financial aid questions. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's free. We do send you reminders and messages a couple times a week, but you can text in any of your questions that you might have by texting that number at the bottom of the screen there. And it's a really great service. Come chat with us. If you want some more information, just go to the website here, wasac.wa.gov/Otterbot. That'll talk to you a little bit how the program works, and will help you kind of get some more information about how Otter works, and you can text in and get all those questions answered. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cross my fingers. If everyone out there can cross your fingers with me, because I'm going to try something here on the technology, and we're going to see if we can get our college partners here to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their campus and what they're doing to support students. So I'm going to turn off the presentation, and we'll start with Lori from Spokane Falls Community College.
Okay, I think we're on. Did that work?
I think you're good to go, Lori.
Great, great. Hi, guys. Really glad that you're part of this presentation today because this is a lot of great information for you. Just want to echo that message that it's not too late. So I'm with Spokane Falls Community College. My name is Lori. I'm the recruitment specialist. And I just want to let you know that we are still accepting applications. They're free, they're online, they will take you 15 minutes to do. And we're here for you. We have over 100 programs between the two community colleges. And we think we have a place for you, whether you're starting your school with us and planning to transfer to a university, or you're looking for a career technical program that will take you 1 to 2 years to complete and get out into the workforce. We have a place for you in that. Some of the things that we're doing right now to support our students who are coming on board now during this environment, we have some virtual lounges online. So you could go into the Spokane Falls website and you can talk just like this over a Zoom meeting with someone from financial aid, from admissions, from our advising office, from our disability support services, and just general information, which is what my office supports. And we will get you to the right place with the right answer. Can't say it strongly enough, as Scott said earlier, ask those questions. We've got a lot of people here online willing to help you get through the process so that you can be enrolled for summer or fall this year. So again, online application, easy to do. We have extended our financial aid priority funding deadline, just like I'm sure a lot of schools have, just to make sure that you have the chance to get that financial aid application in and done. We have also doing some online placement testing, so you can send your test scores, transcripts into the community college for review, but we will also be doing online testing since we're not on campus right now, and that's going to be, I think, a little simpler process for everybody to get through that, and then have a virtual advising session with one of the advisors to get you scheduled in for your classes. So lots of things happening here. We do not need your SAT or ACT scores, so you can kind of just let those go and just apply and do it for anything. So as I say, we are here to help you through the process. Please ask us questions. We think we're a great option for you for your next education. So with that, I'm just going to say go Sasquatch and turn it over to my colleague Shelby at SCC.
Great, Shelby from Spokane Community College.
All right, am I on? Let's see.
You're good to go.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Lori. I wanted to piggyback off of what Lori was saying because I am from Spokane Community College. I'm the recruiter over here. And much of what we're doing at SCC is going to echo the things that Lori mentioned just now. So still accepting applications. We have open enrollment for students. So if you are someone who's a little nervous about where your GPA is at as you're ending high school, we could be a great starting point for you. I'm working with students all the time who know they want to be on a 4-year path and are just looking to boost their GPA a little bit in their first 2 years with us. And at SCC, we have a variety of those professional technical programs that are 2 years or less, some as short as 1 quarter certificates, even 5.5 weeks for some of those that you can get in and get out and start moving in the workforce and really making money. So if you're someone who doesn't want to be in school forever, keep that in mind. Upcoming summer and fall quarters, we are planning on being in session as normal, and that could change as we approach it, of course, as things evolve. But we're hoping to have our students back on campus and be able to support you in that way, as well as continuing to provide those virtual and online resources that Lori mentioned So you can Zoom meeting with our outreach staff and ask questions directly if you like more of a one-on-one setting. We have text line set up that you can text with Lori and I directly if that's easier for you to ask questions. And again, the financial aid application deadline has been extended for priority funding, so it's not until a little bit later in June now for students who are coming in the fall. So there is still time to submit that stuff. One thing I would recommend for students, if you haven't explored much with community colleges of Spokane, we have a great virtual campus going on our website. So if you navigate to SCC or the Falls, you can go on and explore that a little bit. And there's just really good resources on there, whether you're going to be an online student or not, and contact information for every single office on campus, email and phone number. I know when I was a student, I hated talking on the phone, so I was always going to email. So if you're that type of student, there's contact info in there, and a lot of good online resources that even when we are on campus, hopefully soon, we'll be able to continue that if that's your preferred method of communicating with us. So we hope you'll look into it more. We are just sitting here at home like all of you, hoping to connect and help you get started in this process. So let us know. We're happy to help you with everything from guiding you through the online application to answering questions you have about financial aid and programs. So go Sasquatch. I'll pass it off to the next person.
Thanks, Shelby. Jana Dracy from Eastern Washington University.
Hello, everybody. Jana Dracy here. I oversee our admissions office, and many of you may have worked directly with Mandy Lee, who is the recruiter for the Spokane area. I'm excited to talk to you and answer your questions as all of our lives have kind of flipped upside down. We also learned a lot during this time, and so we got really creative, and the team is really excited to connect with you and to talk about how things can be a little bit easier through this time. And so we shifted. We have a whole virtual page dedicated to students. So if you go to our website, ew.edu/virtual, you'll be able to connect with our team, with financial aid. You'll get to see webinars or sign up for future webinars that can help you. There's information about housing and orientation and classes. We also have a really cool walk around tour, and we're even setting up virtual group visits for teachers and counselors. So we're getting really creative and trying to do our best to connect with you. And we're also working on reducing barriers. So we've extended decision day to June 1st. If you still need more time, we're happy to talk about that. And then we have officially gone test optional. So not just only for fall 2020 or fall 2021, but permanently for all the classes moving forward as we want to reduce barriers and make higher education accessible. So really excited to answer any questions that you may have, and go Eags.
Thanks, Jana. All right, next I'm going to turn it over to Jason at Whitworth.
Hello, everybody. I trust you can hear me okay. Again, my name is Jason Tobeck. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at Whitworth. Thankful that you've taken the time to learn a little bit more about your future. A bit about Whitworth. We're located in North Spokane. It's a private liberal arts Christian college, and it really is a draw for students that are looking for classes that are smaller class settings. The professors are very engaging in a personal way. When students have a chance to visit our campus, the community on campus is a real draw for those that it's a good fit for. So if any of those type scenarios are things that actually are attractive to you, it's not too late to look into Whitworth. Our application is still available, and it's a free application. We accept the common application or the Whitworth application. Either is fine. Most often we have lots of visit events to campus available. With the scenario that we have All of our visits are now virtual. We've done or have scheduled 83 different webinars for students. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Whitworth and if it's a good fit for you with what you're looking for, go to our webpage, whitworth.edu, and then just click on the visits button and you'll see all the different webinars available. One thing to know is if you're a person that has already been admitted to Whitworth or plans to be admitted to Whitworth or are going to apply, we have until June 1st if you'd like to achieve a visit scholarship. It's worth $1,000. Any senior that's admitted that completes 2 of our webinars will be offered that visit scholarship. Similar to if we were in person and you were to visit campus with one of our events, we would offer that extra $1,000. So if you want to learn more or get that $1,000, be sure to plug into one of those webinars. You'll need to complete 2 by June 1st. Love to have you partake in that. Also, the deadline, like many colleges, we've extended our enrollment deposit deadline from May 1st to June 1st. So you have time both to apply, get accepted, receive financial aid. And let's say that you're just applying and you're concerned about just that short turnaround of June 1st is right there around the corner. We can even extend that and offer a deposit deadline extension if needed. So please know we're here to serve. We really want to help students along the way. And finally, I would say this, that our counselors are on the phone all the time, each day, talking about next step type questions, talking about concerns with the private education. Often a sticker price can be overwhelming or concerning. And we're on the phone all the time with families trying to help them understand in ways that can make it affordable. At times, these conversations will discover that there's maybe a special circumstance in your family that we want to share with financial aid office. And at times that can offer some additional aid as well. So don't let the barriers of the finances at this point be what keeps you from opening the door and sticking your foot in the door for a place like Whitworth if you think it's a good fit for you. And then I would just say this, that we're planning to be on campus like many of the others. September 5th, we have plans in place to be on campus, to run classes as usual. We will keep the students safe first, but our plans are to be reporting September 5th for in the dorm presentation and classes in person. So with that, I'll just say go Pirates and turn that over to the next person.
Thanks, Jason. Next, we're going to hear from Carrie at Gonzaga University.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time to learn a little bit from us and to ask us your questions. I'm Carrie Weeks. I'm Associate Director of Admission at Gonzaga. And for those who may not be as familiar with Gonzaga, we're a private liberal arts Catholic university in the Jesuit tradition. We do have students from over 24 different faiths. We're from about 50, almost all 50 states, as well as about 40 different countries. We have a student body of just over 5,000 undergraduate students, definitely a school where you get to know your faculty. We have small class sizes. The average is 22 with an 11-to-1 student to faculty ratio. We're also listed as and ranked as in the top 5% for our undergraduate teaching. And we really believe and have faculty that care about their students and want to get to know you better, want to help you through all of your processes. We also have about 99% of our students receiving merit scholarships. We do offer something for students that works off of what's called the Pell federal grant. If you receive a federal grant through the Pell initiative, then at Gonzaga, we will cover all the way up to tuition. So we cover tuition with scholarships and grants for those students who receive Pell grants to go to college. That was part of how I paid for college, and I know that's how a number of students are paying for college as well. We also are test optional for the spring of 2020 as well as for the fall of 2021. We are planning to be on campus as well in the fall, and in our residence halls as well as in our classes. As I mentioned, they're fairly small class sizes already. We will do our very best to keep students safe. We're working with the Spokane Regional Health District as well as the governor's office to do that. We also have our own health center on campus with doctors and nurses. They also have the COVID-19 tests. And we'll be able to, if there are outbreaks or if there are some students that need to be isolated or quarantined, we will have some spaces available in the residence halls for those students and still continue to take care of those students as well. Some other ways that we are assisting students or some new policies for the during this pandemic would be things like we did extend our deadline for response for students who are interested in coming to Gonzaga. That deadline is June 1st. We are also still taking applications for students. So you're welcome to still apply to Gonzaga. We use the common application. You can also find out more about the university through our many different virtual webinars and sessions. If you go to our webpage and go to our visit section, you can sign up for a whole bunch of different webinars. We have one coming up on housing for admitted students this Thursday, and then our president will be giving a webinar on the 19th of May as well. So again, I echo the rest of my colleagues in saying it's certainly not too late to contact us with your questions and to plan the very best for your future, and we're happy to be your partner in helping to do that. And go Zags!
Thanks, Carrie. Next, we're going to turn over to Randy from Washington State University.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Randy Niehenke, and I'm the Associate Director with the Office of Admissions and Recruitment with Washington State University Pullman. So if you are familiar with Washington State, many of you know our Pullman campus, but we do have campuses throughout the state of Washington, including a global campus. So lots of opportunities in various areas for students to attend WSU. Since I am with the Pullman campus, most of my updates will be specific, but a lot of them will be the same for a lot of our campuses. As of right now, we are still accepting applications for fall 2020, and we have gone test optional for those students who are now applying. If they are wanting to apply without those test scores, they just need to let us know, and we'll continue to process with just that transcript. We have also extended our confirmation deadline to June 1st for students who are still trying to make that decision and see if we will be the right fit for them this year, with a lot of different virtual opportunities for both our prospective students and our incoming students to learn more about the university, connect with other students, whether that be through one-on-one appointments with admissions counselors like myself, to we have daily presentations from not only admissions, but from academic departments. Our university president, Clark Schultz, is hosting town hall meetings every other Friday. So there's one this Friday at 10:30. If you'd like to hear updates regarding WSU and what we're doing to hopefully return to classes as close to normal as we can in August, which August 24th is our start date. And as of now, our hope is to be as back to close to normal as we possibly can, and as that is safe for our students. For our fall 2021 applicants, we will not be requiring test scores. So our application we hope to have online in August, so you can still get that ball rolling soon there. I highly recommend you visit our admissions page, where we have a COVID-19 FAQ that we're constantly or constantly updating as we're making updates and changes, and things are constantly moving. So that is a great resource for both our incoming students, our current students, and our prospective students. So I highly recommend checking that out, as well as that is where you can register for our virtual links as well. For our orientations for the month of June, those will be online. In July, we're hoping to maybe return to having those on campus, but we'll hopefully have a decision for sure on that soon. Our placement exams are also online, both writing and math, to assist students with that. But if you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are here to help, and we want to make this process as easy and as simple as we can make it for you. And of course, go Cougs!
Great, thanks, Randy. And what we're going to do now is have an opportunity to answer some of your questions. Yokiko, who's my colleague who's been kind of monitoring the questions that have been coming in, is going to help us get it started. Yokiko?
All right, I am here with the very first question, and the question I am going to direct to one public college and one private college and one community college, because I think it's important. It kind of touches all areas. So I'd like to have Jana from Eastern, and let me double check when I catch names. Can we have Carrie from Gonzaga? And then could we have Lori Williams answer this question? So the question is, please address how students with IEPs in reading, writing, and math can receive assistance in college.
Sure. I'll go first for Eastern, and our students can get connected, or we can help them get connected with our disability support services. And so they have a plan in place on how to support our students. And because we switched to online this spring, they've had some experience and are working with current students, helping them with their courses and their classes. So I can get you that information or share that with you, but I don't know in specific the exact plan, but our students are getting support through our DSS office.
I'll share some information for Gonzaga. Similarly, we have a disability access office, and so students with learning differences, those who need accommodations, they turn in their paperwork, they turn in their information to the disability access office, and from that, they will determine what kind of accommodations students can be provided. So anything from talking to a professor on behalf of that student to say, this student needs extended time on a test. They don't tell the reason why students, they don't give diagnoses or things like that, but they tell them what that particular student might need. And then that allows those students to have those accommodations. So we have at least 400 students or so who access our disability access office. And that's what we do at Gonzaga with for students who need accommodations.
And at the community colleges, it's going to be the same thing. We both have disability support services offices, and our faculty and staff there work very closely with the students who submit documentation about what their needs might be and what those accommodations that we can do, just like what Carrie and Jana said. If the student needs a quiet place to take a test, that might be something that we can accommodate and do with the students. But they're all individualized, just like they're in high school. And they'll take that information into mind and work with the students one-on-one to figure out what we need to do.
Okay, thank you all for answering that question. I appreciate you each taking the time to talk about what options are available for students on your campuses. This next one is from a student who kind of asked a couple of questions back to back, but this is kind of pertaining to our two-year campuses as well as one of our four-year campuses. So I'm going to ask Shelby to answer, and then I will ask, I think I'll have Jason Tobick answer this. Hopefully he has some answers as well. But the question is, are there any colleges besides SEC that offer degrees in radiology? I'm currently a high school junior and I'm going to be a senior in the fall doing Running Start. And my parents want me to, hold on, I'm catching on. It's a lot of text here. Running Start in the fall as well. My parents really want me to apply for a full ride scholarship to a four-year university, even after I've completed 1 year of community college. I really want to get a master's in radiology while also being close to home in Spokane. And I keep hearing that there is no way to further my education in radiology because an associate's degree is the highest that I can get. And then she wants to understand sort of the difference between, or kind of learn more about how you do radiologist versus radiology technician. And so I would like for Spokane Community College to talk a little bit about her options on your campus, and then hopefully have our partner from the four-year campus answer.
Helps if I turn my mic on there. Okay, so great question. Thanks for your interest in radiology. SCC is, to my knowledge, one of the few places in Washington State that you can get that radiology technology degree. And for us, it's an Associate of Applied Science, which means it is that 2-year degree. However, it's a little bit different because radiology technology is going to require a full year of prerequisite coursework for you to complete before you can apply and be eligible to apply to get into the radiology program. So all in all, if you're able to apply and get in, it is competitive. It's going to take 3 years in total to complete that degree. And I apologize that I'm not more familiar with what other campuses are doing or offering, but I know that our students coming out of our program are highly successful, find jobs pretty easily, whether it's in Spokane or surrounding areas, just because it's a great degree to have. And we have some other programs that are somewhat similar, like ultrasound, or some other ones that students have similar prerequisites that are required. So they're able to, maybe take those prereqs and then apply for several programs, depending on what one they want to get into. But it is going to be 3 years altogether for us, and it is not necessarily designed to transfer on to a 4-year school, like you mentioned, and into a further degree. So it's oftentimes those prerequisite classes you're taking in your first year, there's usually about 6 to 8 of them. Those are transferable most times to a 4-year school. So what I like to tell students is get started on those. And then if midway through you decide, you know what, I want to go on the 4-year path, I really want my bachelor's degree, you haven't wasted any time. Those could transfer into maybe a biology degree at a 4-year school. So that's usually what I recommend. It is a competitive program, like I said, but most of the time, if you're keeping your GPA up and working with our academic counselors to make sure you have all your ducks in a row, you're going to be in really good shape. I can't recommend this program enough. Hopefully that covered a little more. I'm happy to put you in touch with some folks directly in the department, some instructors within the department, if you wanted to talk a little more about placement and kind of what students continue on in after they graduate, and maybe you're even in the workforce for a bit.
And one more thing, Shelby, before you go. She did ask, can you enroll as a radiology technician at SCC as a Running Start student?
We have students who will do prerequisites for that course. I'm not 100% sure if we have current Running Start students who are participating in that, but we have had students in other allied health programs. So I don't see why not if you meet the admissions requirements, but we'd want to follow up directly with you and in accordance with our Running Start office just to double check on that.
Great, I'll give a 4-year response to the question. And it's important if students really, if radiology is what they know they want to do and they think they're going to do that for their entire life, then the fast track would be going to the 2-year and getting that certification and getting right into employment. However, at times students think they know what they want to do and they can get the degree, and then let's say 3 years down the road, it ends up not being a great fit and they want to do something different. That's the conversation we often have with students. If students wanted to go into radiology and they were entering Whitworth, we would probably direct them to a health science degree initially, and they would be able to complete a bachelor's degree in an area that is very diverse and flexible to lots of different other areas, both for occupation right away out of college or for postgraduate opportunities. I could see students going through the health science degree, get the 4-year bachelor's degree. They would then need some additional training post graduation from Whitworth to finish with a certification or a degree in the radiology. That would be probably the best information I could share. Most of the time, what I'll do is if a student has that question and wants to know more about Whitworth's fit with that, I'm glad to connect you with one of our academic advisors in the health science area. And that's a better way to learn how can best Whitworth fit what you want to do both now, your first job, and then maybe your last job that you want to get down the road. But if it's radiology, Whitworth isn't the best fit if that's exactly what you want to do. I think there's a faster track to get to that point than going through Whitworth's education.
Thank you so much. And the next question I have, I'm going to direct to Randy. So the question is, what does test optional mean?
Great. So test optional means that students can submit their test scores if they would like, but they are not required to. So we can still review your application without those. So for our fall 2020, we're test optional because some students have had the option to take those tests. However, since there has been cancellations of those tests for our fall 2021 class at WSU, we are going test score blind or test scores not required. So that way students do not have to take or submit those exams. They will not be required.
Great. And then, so my next question would be for our four-year colleges. And so I will ask once again, Jana from Eastern, and then I will have Carrie from Gonzaga. So one of you from public and private answer. Are there full ride scholarship opportunities to a four-year university available to students after they graduate both high school and a two-year college, or are full ride scholarships only available for high school seniors to apply for?
At Eastern, we have full ride scholarships through our honors program. So those are for high school seniors, and we have about 3 or 4 of those. And so our honors program works with students. They do the application review and notify those students for who receive the full ride scholarships.
And at Gonzaga, we have the full ride scholarship for incoming first year students, and also there can be some transfer students who are at community colleges who can receive the Act 6 scholarship. So the Act 6 program is an urban leadership scholarship program. Both Gonzaga and Whitworth participate in Act 6, and students can apply for this program. They would receive full tuition, and then it meets their family's full financial need if they receive this scholarship. At GU, we select 4 students from the Spokane area and 4 from Seattle, Tacoma, and they come in together as a cohort or a cadre, and they support one another. They take classes, they have workshops, they do a lot of education both on campus and with their peers, as well as they learn a lot about leadership, and then are expected to take what they are learning and the people that they are growing into back out into the community and do positive things in their communities. So that's the Act 6 leadership program that can end up being a full ride if a student has full need. And that does include transfer students if the requirement is that you have to have graduated in the last 2 years. So there could be students who are in community college who are applying for that. We also do offer a number of scholarships to students who are transferring. We do merit scholarships automatically, $10,000 to $20,000 per year. I realize that's not a full ride, but it does can help add up. And that Pell initiative that I mentioned, that really is only for first year students, where scholarships and grants cover all of tuition if a student is eligible for a federal Pell. We do have some we do have some athletic scholarships that are full ride scholarships that can go to some of our transfers as well. And then those other separate application scholarships that can get stacked on top of one another that may not equal a full ride, but can still assist with financial need for students.
All right, thank you, Carrie. So the next question is actually something that I would like all of the panelists to answer, because the student asked for the SAT, which is the SAT thing, which I'm assuming is the SAT waivers or SAT accommodations. Is that only for 2020? What about other classes that the pandemic has affected? That was for all the colleges to answer.
sorry, I'm not sure if anybody else is trying to jump in here too, but I'll just go ahead and go first and say that at Gonzaga, it includes the 2021 class and it includes the spring of 2020 students who are applying for that. And then we're going to take a look at how that has all worked and kind of reassess whether or not we want to continue being full test optional. We will certainly take into account the fact and whatever might be available to students as far as test dates, and if they're not as available, then we would take that into consideration in terms of our decision. But we haven't really announced anything beyond the 2021.
And then Jana, could you come on? Thank you.
So test optional is permanent at Eastern, but we also know that a lot of students would receive SAT or ACT test fee waivers to help pay for the application fee. So if students have those, that is great. We also have what's called the NACAC waiver that our staff and we have within our admissions office that we can send to students to have that fill out and cover the application fee. And so it's just a reach out, and we're happy to provide that or provide that to your counselor as well for students who have financial hardship.
Great, and then Jason?
Yeah, Whitworth's been test optional for a number of years now. We do value the fact that students can demonstrate their ability to be successful academically through their classes that they've taken and through their success in those classes through the GPA. We also value the SAT scores, but it's been optional to submit the scores, and we replace the test scores with a brief phone interview with our counselors. So that will be, it's what we've done for a number of years, and it's what we plan to do moving forward as well.
Great, and then Lori?
At the community colleges, we don't require test scores at all. There's no SAT or ACT or even SBAC required. The only place that those do come in handy is we will look at SAT scores or ACT scores if your scores are at a level where it will allow you to bypass placement testing. So the English and math placement that we do, that's the only place that the SATs and ACTs are needed. The only thing, though, I will mention on top of that is if you end up going to community college maybe just for a quarter and then you transfer, and then at the university that you transfer to, they may require it. So that would be the only other time that you would want to do it as a student.
All right, and then next we have Randy.
Excellent. Yes, for our fall 2021 applicants, we will not be requiring test scores at all, and we will be adjusting scholarships that may have been GPA and test score based to only be GPA based, and then we'll see how that goes and see if that will continue into the future. So for fall 2021, test scores are not required.
Okay, and then lastly, I know we have Shelby.
Thank you. And we're going to align exactly with what Lori Williams mentioned from Spokane Falls. So test scores are not something we're going to need from you in order to be admitted to community colleges of Spokane, and not something that's going to be tied to any kind of scholarship or anything like that. So nothing you need to worry about if you're coming to CCS.
Great. This next question is for Sarah. A student asked, what is that number that the student needs to text into to get information about college and financial aid?
Great, so that's awesome. Thank you so much for the question. So that's Otterbot, and that's who we're, on my camera so you can all see me here. Hi everyone, so Otterbot is who you want to text into. You want to text in Hi Otter to 360-928-7281. And I'll say that one more time. Say Hi Otter to 928-7281, and we'll get you set up with Talking Otterbot and get all your questions answered. Thanks.
And then I have one more question, which is probably most appropriate for you, Sarah, to answer. The student asks, what's the difference between the FAFSA and the WASFA?
Yeah, great. So that's a fantastic question. There are two separate applications. The FAFSA application is for students who are eligible for both federal aid. So you heard Carrie, for example, at Gonzaga mentioned the Pell Grant. That's a federal program. So students who are eligible for federal programs in addition to state scholarships and grants like the Washington College Grant. So those are going to be U.S. citizens, permanent residents, students who are eligible for both federal and state financial aid programs. Now, the WASFA application, the Washington application for state financial aid, that application is for students who are only eligible for state financial aid programs. So that they might only be eligible for Washington College Grant due to immigration status or undocumented students, students who meet Washington residency requirements but are applying only for state financial aid programs. So if you're eligible for both federal and state programs, such as Pell Grant, Washington College Grant, College Bound Scholarship, you're eligible for both types of financial aid. You're going to want to apply with the FAFSA application. It'll apply you for both state and federal programs, and that's going to be the best opportunity to maximize your aid opportunities. But if you're not eligible for federal aid, you can still apply for state financial aid using the WASFA application.
Great. So this next question is one that I think is really important. And so I'd like to have Lori answer this question and also Jason Tobeck. This question is, what are we doing if students request to have a gap year for students going forward?
So if you're taking a gap year after your senior year, I know that is something that students like to do. There's going to be no real difference at the community college for that. You can apply again anytime, and that application will go forward. We're on the quarter system at the community college, so you can come to us fall, winter, or spring quarters. As far as like your transcripts as a high school student, if you wanted to send transcripts in for us for placement, your English scores, your transcript grades are good for 3 years. Math is good for 1 year, so you still could come in with that. And then you just pick up and go. You would want to do, if you're taking this coming year off, you would want to then do the FAFSA or the WASFA for the next year. That's something you have to do yearly. So you would want to keep that in mind to be ready to do that for the year that you do plan to come in. And again, we've got a lot of staff on well, not on campus right now, we're all at home, but a lot of staff who are there to answer those questions for you if you are thinking about coming in midterm. We would like to. We'll take you anytime. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that question. I do think it's a timely question and a very good question. The way Whitworth manages gap years, and it's not uncommon, there's a variety of reasons why students will take gap years. Some students are already admitted to the university and then decide to do a gap year or just want to do some different life experience for a chunk of time. They typically will let us know, the admissions counselors know that they're going to take a gap year, and then we'll defer their application status. So if they're admitted, we'll just defer their admission to the spring or until the next fall, depending on whether they want a semester gap or a full year gap. If they're a deposited student and they want that gap year, then we'll do the same. We'll just go ahead and defer that position. Their scholarships will be frozen. Their application status will be frozen until that following semester or year. If they're a student that just wants to take a gap year but haven't applied to the university, obviously that's fine. Then they would, the following year, just apply as a freshman like normal. If during their gap year they did take a class or two at a community college, then their application would be our transfer application rather than a freshman application at that point. When I'm asked what would I suggest, I usually encourage students to go ahead and investigate the colleges that they're interested in now coming out of high school. try to decide where they best think would be a good fit for them for college, get admitted, get the financial aid, and then at least at Whitworth, let the counselor know, and then we would freeze everything and defer it until the following year. And we typically do that just for 1 year gap year. If a student wanted to do a second year, that's not by rule what we allow initially, but through conversations, we're glad to offer that a second year gap year. And any questions pertaining to that, please reach out to the counselors. Glad to answer those questions for you as well.
Thank you. And we have another question that came in. So this is for WSU and Gonzaga. Without the SAT and ACT scores, how are schools going to judge applications differently? What areas are going to be weighted differently? And how are these applications going to look different? This student is a junior applying for the fall of 2021.
So at Gonzaga, we had already started to kind of de-emphasize the test score as a part of the holistic review of applications. So we had kind of already started that process, as well as done a bunch of research on using test scores to determine whether this is really preparing students for college and for their first year set of grades. We will continue to use our holistic review. We will put more emphasis on the grades and the curriculum that students have taken. We will probably encourage that much more for students to do interviews with us. We have offered those for quite a while as well. We do those over the phone. We do them over Zoom right now. We do them in person, just depending upon what works best for the student. We don't have our full application evaluation process. We will over this summer kind of go through and take a look at how we really want to weigh, or if we want to change anything in terms of what we will look at for the application, but we continue to have a holistic review of the application. So we are looking for students who are not only strong students, the middle 50% of our students were between a 3.55 and a 3.91 on an unweighted GPA scale. We look at difficulty of curriculum, we look at character, we look at the activities they're involved in and what they are pursuing and spending their time on, their leadership, their service. We look at their writing ability in all parts of the application. A word to the wise, please make sure that you double check all of your applications to make sure you have complete sentences and you're using capital I's and all of those kinds of things, because those are the types of things that can cause admission counselors to kind of want to tear their hair out. We know that you can do better than what some of your peers may have turned in. So just make sure that you're turning in an application that you're proud of. But we will look at all of these pieces again in the summer, but we have always had a holistic review. So we will just take the test score part out of the equation, and that's true for scholarships. We won't require it to award scholarships or financial aid or the honors program or any of our other opportunities really that used to use some test score as a part of the weighting.
Great. Over at WSU, we have also kind of taken a lot of the weight off of the test scores over the last few years, being that with students who have a cumulative GPA of an unweighted 3.5 or higher at the time of applying, were assured admission. So although they still had to submit their test scores, that wasn't something we are looking at. So we also have that holistic review process where we will be looking at grade trends. So how have you done from freshman year till now? We're going to be looking at strength of coursework. Have you had the opportunity to take AP, IB, college in the high school, honors classes? Are you taking additional math classes, sciences? So we're looking at things like that, as we have found in research over the last few years that GPA is the best indicator for us of strength or success in our classrooms, test scores didn't play as large of a part. So that we'll be still looking at course rigor, we'll still be looking at your grade trends. Although we do not require an essay with the admissions application to WSU, if we do feel we need additional information, then that would be something we may be asking students for, to ask or to have them explain what helps them be successful or what will help them be successful at WSU, having them explain their grade trends. Or in some cases, if we do feel we need additional information, then we ask for updated transcripts or grade reports throughout your senior year to make sure we are seeing those positive grade trends, to make sure that you will be successful in our classroom. So the transcript is really a great indicator for us in seeing how a student has been doing and how they're pushing themselves in their coursework.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I like to ask this question of Sarah. Can you explain what is work study?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Work study is a financial aid program that allows a student to work on campus and get paid for their time and use those funds for any type of their educational expenses or personal expenses. The cool thing about work study is that it's not just paid for by the campus. And so if you're a student who it's a federal financial aid program, and in Washington, we actually even have a state work study program, which means there are two sources of funds. So if you have a work study award on your financial aid package, that means that the federal education programs or the state programs are going to subsidize or pay for some of your salary. And so the campus doesn't have to pay for as much of it. So in that case, you're going to be looked at as maybe a more interesting employee potentially, because you're not going to cost the campus as much to employ as another student. And so it's an awesome opportunity to get work experience while you're a student. I know that when I was a student in college, working on campus was a fantastic opportunity for me. It kind of helped me understand what I wanted to do after I graduated from college. And one thing I will say too is that not all campus jobs require a work study award. And so if you're not eligible for the work study program per se, that doesn't mean you can't work on campus. And so there's multiple ways of working on campus. The work study program is a type of financial aid that can help you do that.
Okay, and then I have one more question. What student activities are you offering virtually? And so I'd like this to kind of go through each of the schools, but I'll call you by name. We'll start with Shelby.
All right, great question. Since we're still a little early in our spring quarter right now with being fully online for students, there's been a few things we've been doing through our campus activities office that are virtual fairs. We actually have a virtual job fair coming up next week. That's something that we offer every quarter. Lori mentioned we're on quarters for our students. So that's something we'll continue to offer. We have lots of different affinity groups on campus for different things, from our associate sign language group to our car club and things like that. And those student groups continue to meet virtually and connect amongst themselves as the quarter goes on. So they may not be able to do their normal activities in person, but there are still ways to remain connected. We're still hiring for all kinds of student leadership positions as well, if you wanted to get involved in that way. And you can actually be the people who design some of those activities that are going to happen on campus. But for us, unfortunately, a lot of what we do at community college is in person, you know, whether it's fairs or handing out stuff to students. A lot of that has had to have been adjusted because of the situation we have going on right now. So I know those offices will be full steam ahead as soon as we're back on campus, but it does look a little bit different. If you wanted to still explore, we've got lots of resources on those clubs and activities that on our academic calendar that are happening on our website. So it's worth looking at that and seeing if there's things of interest to you that are upcoming. Hopefully, if you're going to be a fall student, it'll be our normal schedule and stuff happening all the time.
Thank you, Shelby. Next, I will pass it off to Randy.
Excellent. So at WSU, it looks a little different because we are actually the only public school in the state on the semester system. We actually just finished up our spring semester. So our students are actually now on summer vacation. So we luckily, in some cases, didn't have to be online as many or as long as some of our other counterpart schools. However, we still have our summer classes going and our students are still participating in some of our summer classes. But some of the ways we've helped our students still be involved and connected with campus is we did host a virtual graduation ceremony this past week, and many of our student groups and organizations hosted student events and celebrations via Zoom to help celebrate our graduating students. We also have, or through our University Recreation Center, they have actually hosted a lot of different like mind and wellness programs for our students. So they've done virtual yoga, virtual stress sessions, same with Cougar Health, how to check in and mentally be good during this time. So students can participate in those types of events. And then just some like super random ones that are pretty cool. We still are actually doing intramural sports. So because we offer esports, we have actually had students who have been participating in Call of Duty tournaments to NBA video game type games. I'm trying to find the list because I'm not super into all of that, so I don't really quite get them, but like Rocket League. And I know we were even still competing against other universities in some of these types of games as well. So I know they were actually advertising we took the University of Washington on in one of the NBA video games, so students could actually tune in and cheer on the Cougs. So they're definitely still finding ways to network, but yeah, our students are actually now on summer vacation unless they're taking summer school.
Great, thanks. And let's have Lori.
So at SSCC, our student government is doing still some things that they're trying to do. So they're having virtual workshops, I guess they would be called, and lectures online. They still are hosting food banks. We have a food bank on campus, both of our community colleges do. And so they're doing some pickup places, letting people know around town where the students can go to get food. We have a virtual tutoring center, so our students still can get access to online tutoring. And we have what's called Ask a Student. So if you want to just sign on into a Zoom meeting, just like this again, where you're talking one-on-one with one of our students, you can do that. So it's available to you. And then some of our, what we call coffee talks that our Mosaic Center does, some of those have been moved online as well, so that you can just have a conversation. Sometimes there are topics like, I need a car loan and I don't know how to go about that, or I have a challenging relationship and I need to talk to different ways to approach that. There's all sorts of topics that come from our students themselves, and so those coffee talks have gone online as well. So those are kind of the main things right now for us. Thanks.
All right, next if we could have Jason.
Yeah, so at Whitworth, today is the first day of the finals week. Yesterday was kind of a dead day or a quiet day, typically Monday. And then they started their finals actually today through Friday. And then like Washington State, they'll be into summer break the following week. There's a lot of virtual parties that are going on at the end of the year as academics start to wrap up within departments that are doing virtual Zoom parties. There's a variety of different graduation type, capstone celebrations done remotely. We've moved our graduation ceremony, will actually be taking place it would be typically happening this next Saturday, Sunday, but we've moved that and rescheduled that for homecoming weekend in the fall. so that all of the graduates can come back and we can do the ceremonies. And that'll be a fun in-person celebration for the students rather than just trying to wrap it up remotely. We want to do that in person. I would say this too, just to touch on some other remote type interactions. We've had webinars. I wrote down a quick list here, both just for presentations for any kind of incoming students, athletic webinars for teams. We have today, the football program is having a webinar for all of their incoming new students. There's 52, 53 new football players coming in. Our president has done one and already scheduled to do another Q&A webinar for students. Virtual tours with our students going around campus, academic specific webinars for incoming students, such as music has 50, 55 students that are in their webinar coming up, and then engineering has done a nice webinar as well. We've done dorm tours, so students looking at dorms, they've got a chance to get into those dorms. Last night we did a study abroad webinar or Zoom tour, and that was really, I think, a valuable time for students. So maximizing the best we can with what we're able to do. And I would just check our different colleges' websites if you're looking for more information on those remote opportunities.
All right, thank you. Next is Jana.
At Eastern, there's a lot of interesting and fun opportunities for students. So we get updates pretty monthly about what's going on and all the different activities that our current students get to be involved in. And so some of the cool things they get to do, Lego building contest, Instagram pet tournament, mystery in the mail. And so there's some very fun, clever things taking place outside of watching Netflix together or being part of house party app where you can play games. And then Greek life is still taking place, just in a different format. So there's still socials taking place, but virtually. And there's usually a very large Greek week in the spring where there's lip sync competition, which they're taking virtual as well. So this gives the opportunity for many more students to get involved. And as we plan for fall quarter, as Eastern's on the quarter system as well, there'll be a lot more activities coming forward. And as students become enrolled and become current students in the fall, they get all of that information on how to get involved with clubs and organizations and all the different activities that students can sign up for and participate in. So it seems like there's never a dull moment still going on.
Thank you, Jana. And then Carrie.
Yeah, so at Gonzaga, we were very lucky in terms of our setup already in place for our students to be going online when it became time to do that. We have an instructional design and delivery program that we've had for over 10 years. So we've already had lots of faculty that have been helping or that have been trained in using online resources to help supplement their in-class resources. So that switchover for many of them was not as difficult of a transition as it could have been. But that's in terms of the academics. And academics, we did just finish our semester as well. Mother's Day for us has always been graduation. We have postponed that graduation to Labor Day. So we will have an in-person graduation with our students coming back and celebrating with us. And we're really looking forward to that as well. In terms of other ways that we're really staying connected though with our students, there are so many things in so many different offices that are putting a lot of their content and putting groups together virtually. We have Mindfulness Mondays, mostly brought to us by university or mission and ministry rather, that supports all of our students and all their different faith backgrounds, but they'll lead reflections virtually. They will do some specific prayers. We do have mass offered for students who are interested in participating in that as well. We also have lots of fun programs planned by our Diversity, Inclusion, Community, and Equity Office. We've had speakers, we've had virtual sharing sessions, we've had our Act 6 scholars did their capstone via Zoom. I sat in on that. That was very powerful, very moving experiences. Throughout the whole semester that we have had to be online, we've had our learning strategies, so peer tutoring in 20 different subjects, as well as professional assistance for students. That has been taking place. We've had all sorts of meetings with financial aid and for our current students as well as our incoming students taking place online, and working with those students, and of course our students that were on study abroad and bringing them back in, and then also just having those kinds of conversations with the students as well. We do have lots of different webinars taking place for those students who are our prospective students and interested in Gonzaga. We do info sessions 2 times a week. You're welcome to go to our website and sign up for those. We do admission interviews, talking with financial aid. We do other specific webinars too. We, like I said, have a housing webinar this Thursday. And then on the 19th, our president will hold a webinar as well, also for admitted students. Our Cura Personalis office, which is the office that really does a lot of case management and working individually with students. They've been continuing to work with students as well. So there's a lot of programming that's taken place, a lot of one-on-one, a lot of group activity, and a number of fun ways to try to keep students connected too.
Thank you. And that is all the questions that we have.
Great, thanks Yukiko for getting us through all the questions, and those were some fantastic questions. Thanks everybody, really appreciate all of the thoughtfulness and all of the things that are going through your minds, and appreciate that you asked them. That's, as Scott mentioned, that's what's most important, is asking those questions. All of us, both at the colleges and at the state agency level and at your schools, we are here to help, and we really want to help you find the resources and the information that you need to find what your next step is and what's the best fit for you, and so what options are available to you. And so with that, we'll conclude the webinar. Scott, I will get a recording over to you so you can share out with those who maybe couldn't make it. But again, I would encourage you all, students, families, educators, whomever's on the line, to visit the various resources that we mentioned during the presentation, and then also to reach out to the colleges or programs that you're interested in learning more about. Everyone's here to help you, and wish you all the very best of luck. Take care.